So, okay, our elective, you are going to do a project on Dadaism. Dadaism started after World War One, so a little bit after when Surrealism started. Um, so again, we're getting even more abstract from Surrealism. Um, the artists were trying to deliberately make something that didn't make sense. This was kind of a reaction to World War One, a reaction to feeling like they were sort of lost. Um, art was made to question the world around it. Your art, anyone's artwork should make people feel, have a response. Okay, so either you like it or you don't like it, and you should be able to defend why you like it or why you don't like it. It shouldn't just be something that you look at and go, eh. Okay, so an example of artwork that makes you go, eh, and not feel one way or another is something like would be put into a doctor's office. Generally, it's not very interesting. It's something you've seen lots of before. It's not going to make anybody upset. Dadaism was almost created to make people upset. It's to make people question, is this art? Is this not art? Does this belong in a museum? Does it not? Okay, so it's trying to make people think. So, for example, Marcel Duchamp. What you see up here in the left corner is a parody of Mona Lisa, where he's given her a mustache and a goatee. This would have shocked people, right? This is most recognized painting in the world, and he put a mustache on her and a goatee. Another example of Dadaism for Marcel Duchamp is this urinal. This is a urinal set on its back, and then he signed R. Mutt to it. He submitted this for a gallery show, and his work was not considered art at first, and so he, I believe, just went and got his own pedestal and installed it himself, kind of like Banksy does now. This is also actually a photograph of Duchamp. This is by Man Ray. He's a surrealist photographer, but also a Dadaist photographer. So what he's done here, this is not editing on the computer, but he's both looking at the camera and looking away. So kind of like Cubism, also very dreamlike, very surreal. And then question about, is this art or is this just a mess up? Because you used to be able to accidentally do something like this with old cameras with film. Duchamp had a crossover between Cubism and also Dadaism. So if you remember from Required, this is Picasso's Cubism, okay, where you can see different views of the person all at the same time. You could show movement. So if we were going to show movement here, we would have two heads or more kind of offset from each other. Marcel Duchamp has broken this image up into shapes and then also shown movement by having multiples. This is by Duchamp. It is called Nude Descending a Staircase. So it's someone who is naked and they are walking down the stairs. But can you tell? Okay, I'm guessing not, because it's very abstracted. It's very broken up into shapes. And then adding all of the multiples to it makes it even harder to discern what it is. Another thing that came out of Dadaism is assemblage, which is putting things together. Much of this would have been broken stuff people were going to get rid of, stuff that these artists found, as they're walking around, and they're putting it together to create something new. You could create a box. Joseph Cornell made all of these boxes with, sometimes it was found objects, sometimes it was things that he curated together. So like this is that's a urinal. These are some of Duchamp's things that were created or collected into this box. So how you can create Dadaist art at home. You could create a collage. This is an example down here in the corner of a Dadaist collage. I just walked around my house and found different things that I could use to collage with. They just don't make that much sense to get together, but then I put it together. I created a piece of artwork to make them look like they would go together. You could make a stop motion animation using found objects. You could make a movie with your family or around your house. Okay. You could create an found object assemblage, so gluing stuff together. You could also draw and create based on a scavenger hunt, which I will include a photo right after this. Once you are done, go ahead and share that with me. This video is going to talk about a recent piece of artwork that was created to make people question what art is, like Dadaism.
The importance of still life paintings in art history can't be overstated. Think of Caravaggio, Goya, Delacroix, Repin, Van Gogh, Rothko, Picasso. They all have widely different styles, yet they all produced still lifes. But recently, Italian artist Maurizio Cattelan decided to show an actual fruit instead of a representation of it. He duct taped a banana on a wall. The artwork is called Comedian, and it's exposed at Miami's Art Basel. It's priced at $120,000. Cattelan wanted to sculpt a banana, and seeking inspiration during his travels, he taped the fruit on his hotel walls. He made banana sculptures in resin and bronze, but finally settled with his original idea, a banana taped on a wall. It isn't the first time he gets attention for his art. His 1999 A Perfect Day consisted of his gallerist, Massimo De Carlo, taped on a wall. You might have also heard of his 2016 America, an 18-karat gold toilet which got stolen in 2019. Of course, when seeing this, it's hard to not make a parallel with Marcel Duchamp's fountain, which we have made a video about. Of course, both artworks seem to, at first glance, belong in a bathroom, but they also contribute to the discussion on the definition of art. Comedian isn't different in that respect. In some way, it's even more radical because, unlike a urinal or a golden toilet, a banana and a piece of duct tape are much more accessible. Anybody can tape a banana on the wall. In a way, both fountain and comedian share the same purpose, to challenge our perspective of art. Now, one of the reasons why I'm talking about Cattelan's piece is because it's been brought to international attention by the artist David de Tuna when he did this.
Art performance. Hungry artist. Yeah. We respect Mauricio, but his art performance, hungry artist. The gallery. Thank you very much. You have more? 150,000? That's been good. That's match day.
The hungry artist shed light on the comedian. Here's where history repeats itself. The parallel between Duchamp's 1917 fountain and Cattelan's comedian can also be drawn in the interventions performed on both artworks. Comedian got eaten and fountain got urinated on. Many artists have tried to use fountain as a urinal. Just to name a few, there's Kendall Gears, Ryan Eno, and Chinese duo Tsai Yuan and Jian Junzi. Yuan said, "The urinal is there. It's an invitation." As Duchamp said himself, it's the artist's choice. He chooses what is art. We just added to it. You could say that the banana was there, that it was an invitation for a hungry artist. Both fountain and comedian are everyday objects that have been recontextualized to become art. The interventions made on them were a way to put the objects back in their original context. In a way, it's saying, this is only a banana, or this is only a urinal. If showing an object and calling it art is a statement, then acting on that said object is a dialogue. Speaking of dialogues, last video I talked about Van Eyck's Arnolfini portrait, and I absolutely loved reading your answers. Let me know in the comments what you think of comedian and its consumption. Do you find it interesting? Is it just the same old dada trick performed over a century ago? And again,